Yeah, g'day. It's been a bit of a while since my last video, so this one is going to be an update on my EDC and a bit of a pocket dump. Okay, first off, my new EDC knife, which is the Spyderco Persistence. This has now become my go-to knife whenever I need to cut something in a hurry. Pull it off my pocket, where it stays with its little pocket hook, click it open, cut things, close it up, dump it away very, very quickly. I used to use my Leatherman Wave for most of my cutting jobs, but the hand grip on the Wave is not particularly comfortable for big jobs, and the blade is not quite as easy to open as the Spyderco. So although I still like my Wave, I always carry it. Got the pliers, which get used a lot. The can opener gets used a heck of a lot, since this is the only can opener, aside from the one on my Victorinox Swiss Army knife, only can opener I've got, and this is the easiest one to access. So anytime I need to open cans around the house, this is what gets used. Of course, it's also got the file and the saw, so this has always been a favoured tool, always carried. But if I just want to quickly cut open a cardboard box or open a plastic sealed bag, that comes out. Next thing that's always carried is my wallet. Bulges a fair bit, not because of large amounts of money, but because of all the IDs and licenses and bank cards and other crap that the 21st century person has to carry. Victorinox Swiss Army knife. This is the Climber model. Always carry that everywhere. The main reason why I've got that is it's got two things that the Wave lacks. One is a corkscrew. Not that I have to open bottles with the old style fully inserted corks very often, but as you may have seen on other YouTube videos by other people, it's very, very good for getting into a tight knot just by inserting the point in underneath the edge of the cord, and then you can pull and loosen up the knot that way. So if you've bound the knot down really, really tight, corkscrews are a very, very handy thing to have. And it's got the awl spike, and that gets used a surprising amount of times. There's a number of times I've needed to put a hole in a bit of wood or leather, and this thing is admirable for the purpose. So although it doesn't get used every day, it still gets used often enough to warrant carrying it. Another Swiss Army knife, yet again a Victorinox. This is the classic SD. It's got the tiny blade, it's got the screwdriver and file, and it's got the scissors, and these are best little tiny scissors I've ever carried in a pocket tool. They are better than the ones in the Wave. And attached to the end of it, I have a small squeeze torch. Just a simple little plastic thing. It came free with a airsoft pistol I purchased from Airsoft Park, which is now Airsoft Peak. Got a little wee switch on it so you can turn it on permanently, or you can just squeeze it and practice your Morse code, or use it in a serious situation. A fairly recent purchase is the Smith's pocket sharpener with the diamond spike and a carbide and ceramic sharpening things. preset at the angle. Not as good as my Spyderco sharp maker, the triangle sharp maker that I use at home, but carry this in my pocket. If I dull the edge of my knife when I'm out in the bush, then that will at least sharpen enough to get me going until I can get home and finish the job properly on the sharp maker. They've fallen out. It's a little pack of tiny screwdrivers. I wear glasses. These tiny screwdrivers are handy for fixing up the screws on there when they get loose. A small plastic bag in which I have a pencil sharpener. You may have seen other videos on YouTube where they show how you use a pencil sharpener to get a nice thin shaving of wood from a stick to make up some tinder. The wood in the centre of the stick is usually dry, so even if the outside's slightly wet, by using a pencil sharpener you can get some fairly dry, thin tinder. That's if you don't want to try and make feather sticks or anything like that. This is what's called a permanent match. It cost me all of $1.57 US, including postage, or with free postage, from China to New Zealand. The idea of these things is it's supposed to have a wick here next to the striker steel, and you fill the inside with lighter fluid. The wick absorbs the lighter fluid, you take it out. There's a ferrocerium rod down the side, and you get a spark and it ignites the wick. However, I've had one of these for years, and I ran out of wick on it and found that it was still quite adequate as a straight ferrocerium fire steel for lighting tinder. So with this one that I've bought to replace the old worn out one, I took the wick out. I don't bother with lighter fluid in it. It's just a small, convenient, pocket-sized ferro rod and striker held together, and doesn't take up too much bulk in my pocket, but it's not so fiddly that I lose it. Last thing in the plastic bag, shepherd's whistle. It's a small bit of plastic, gives quite a loud noise and can be heard quite a way. That's my survival whistle. It's duplicated in my PSK, but this is the one that I carry on me at all times. That's the contents of my trouser pockets, and that's on the belt usually. However, there are usually other things that I've got to carry, such as my mobile phone, which is currently on the charger, so I can't show that off. And I'm one of those dreadful smokers, so there's usually a lighter and tobacco filters and papers if I'm doing roll-your-owns, or occasionally a cigarette-sized sling, which do not fit comfortably into my trouser pockets. So generally I've got to wear at least a jacket. There's also a rather large bunch of keys that if I put those in my trouser pockets and tried sitting down, I'm likely to do myself a serious injury. It doesn't matter whether it's a back pocket or the front, it's going to hurt. There's just no room for these in my trouser pocket. So I'm generally wearing some form of jacket or vest at all times to give myself enough pockets to stow all the rest of the garbage that you carry around. Other parts of my EDC that are always on me. I've got my Casio watch, it's the G-Shock. It's got a very, very bright, I can't show it up on the camera, very, very bright night light. It's water resistant down to 200 meters. It's the G-Shock, so it can absorb a lot of punishment, and I am quite brutal on my clothes and equipment, so the G-Shock watch is what I choose to wear because it's less expensive than some of the other robust ones, and this generally is quite robust. This is my third one. The other ones have eventually died, but they took years to do so. There's my paracord bracelet, quick deploy, what it's called the millipede pattern. You can Google that or look it up on YouTube and you'll find out how to make the millipede pattern. I didn't invent it, I copied it off somebody else, and I find it a great way to tie paracord. There's about a little over 4 meters on there, which is to say I bought 6 meters of paracord, and the bits that I chopped off after I finished tying this up totaled less than 2 meters. And of course the glasses. I wear these on me at all times. Can't do without them. Not allowed to drive without them. So generally I've got a fair bit of stuff on my person at any given time. I stuck it all on the kitchen scale the other day and it came up at 900 grams. So a little bit shy of a kilo. Not by much short of a kilo. Which to be carried around in your pockets is, if you think about the number, a considerable weight, but when you're wearing it you don't notice it at all. So that's my pocket dump and the latest EDC update. Apologies to all of you, those of you who were expecting to see my carry pistol and what holster I use to carry it in. We don't carry pistols here, we're not allowed to carry pistols in New Zealand. We're not allowed to use firearms to defend ourselves. So feel free to click dislike on this video if you are disappointed that you didn't see a nifty little 9mm or 7.62, but sorry. And that's basically it. Until the next video. Have a good night. Bye.